talked about a lot of things. Is there
Yeah.
anything else you want to talk about?
You know what?
Mhm.
How about this? Your thoughts on items being able to come back, like infinite items.
All right, so basically what it is now is we've entered into the ninja tools and items being infinite basically bring us into cycles, right? So yeah, technically they're infinite, but really they're not because you have to wait for the cycle to come back. That's like saying that supports are infinite when really they're also on a cycle or timer. Ninja tools are more balanced than supports are because we haven't been able to affect the timer. So with supports, there's a support recovery glitch that makes any support 3 to 5 seconds. They can come back, right? If you're a two-man team. So if Saratobi's shurikens, right, Jutsu, is on a 30-second timer or 25 to 30-second timer, if you use it, but if you use this glitch, switch glitch, it'll be
Uh-huh.
4 seconds, right?
Right.
So now what you've done is it's still not infinite, but you've basically cheated the system, and you can use something broken over and over again, right? So
True.
that at least, as far as I know, can't happen with ninja tools. So it every ninja tool is on a different timer. Some actually come back faster or
Right.
slower than others. Especially tags, like they're actually pretty slow. And the thing
I
that
feel
they
like it's not as bad. Yeah,
it's
that's
no,
not
it's not
bad
as
at
bad.
all.
Like they've made it about
Oh.
twice as long from when it was in the patch. So in the patch,
Hmm.
actually, it really was infinite because by the time you use one, you could just
It's
use
already
another,
back.
and then you could use another, and then you could use the fourth, and then now you're literally just cycling through them infinitely, right? And if you just wait a little bit, I mean, you can just use them all match. So they really did attempt to balance it, and they made it a lot better.
I didn't
Especially,
even realize it was broke. Like it was that rampant at one point where you could actually use them back to back easily
yeah, and the
before
worst,
patch.
exactly, like it was like more like that than it is now, right? So like, the,
Right.
and then the other thing is they definitely nerfed poison tags. Because
Glad they
before it
did
was
that.
like a massive amount of damage that it would take off, and people would just pick a character that has that and literally just wait for you to open your guard and hit you with that and run around and
Uh,
not even play, right? Wait for you to get frustrated, waste your subs, and then get you into like a combo to ultimate with the poison tag and you instantly die.
sheesh.
So
Yeah.
they definitely made it a lot better. They actually balanced it really well, and no one's talking about that. No one's really saying too much about that because it is a lot better.
No one botched about it either. I feel like the reason why though is just because it's not as detrimental as supports are. If you was to look at okay, what's more broken, supports or the items? I would more so say the supports is far worse.
Oh, for
I
sure,
mean,
especially now.
yeah,
But the poison
far
tag
worse.
was so strong before that you could just run around and like use that, and it was like extremely, like basically as broken as supports. Kind of. It was that
So
bad.
I feel like you experienced far more of that in the higher ranks, didn't you? Because you
Yeah,
don't see that as much in the lower ranks.
no, you don't. Poison was definitely utilized a lot. I mean, even when the game first came out, I definitely played in on a fair and skill based way, but I also did sometimes play with like Hanzo, which was completely broken with his poison. So I was able to see it in action firsthand how broken it was. It became a momentum swinger, right? Like you could
Hmm.
pile up the poison tag with the salamander jutsu and combine the poison. And then even if you do a combo to ultimate, it puts another level of poison afterwards.
Oof.
Yeah, it would actually put poison after you ulted them. So there's three ways to poison them with Hanzo, for instance. But even still, probably PTS Shino was even crazier because his his jutsu stole a lot of your chakra, making it so that you
Interesting.
couldn't even really fight back. It stole
Ah.
like half your chakra or something like that. Something
Oof.
crazy like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty heavy.
Ninja tools are okay, but the most annoying thing is when you die to an explosive bomb or tag because if
Oh,
your
I
health
see what
yeah,
you're
if your
saying.
health is low, it doesn't matter even if you have 3 or 4 substitution bars. All I have to, if you can die from like a ninja tool explosive tag or bomb, you'll die. So like if you come towards me or open yourself up and you're about to die, I just throw that and you die, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't sub it.
Yeah, because your health is too low.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
Mm.
I feel like the reason for that is when you sub, you still take damage, especially if it's a jutsu or something other than a melee attack.
Yeah, the subbing isn't working the same as in the past games, and it's not very accurate, right? So it doesn't work the same way, and I call it a lethal blow where you can just die from it, but that's got to be like the worst feeling thing, where you might as well not have that health and already be dead because you're kind of just all you can do is guard for the most part. It's not much you can
Yep.
do, which leads as well to make me think that they did this intentionally to make the game more offensive and less defensive, because every one of these changes makes the game more offensive and less defensive, right? So it makes me think like, was this intentional? It makes me think that because it all kind of adds up to that side of the field, right?
Especially with the guard being as weak as it is. I mean, it
Yes.
shouldn't be that weak.
No,
I
a lot of
mean,
people
like,
say
it
that.
goes so fast.
Yeah,
I'm
a lot of
like, wait,
yep, a lot of people say that.
yeah. Because it blew my mind when I first started playing, and I was like, huh? My guard is breaking awfully fast. Like, what's going on here? It leaves no room for defense at all, or like hanging on to a sub, because it's like your guard constantly breaks.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because like back in the day, I mean, like you didn't have to, like drain your subs like crazy because your guard it'll hold you up for a bit to the point where you could, you can hold your own. But now it's like, ooh, guard breaks. You're definitely gonna have to spin that sub. And don't let somebody have the kind of support that could just eat your subs away
Yeah.
because you'll sub right back into whatever it is that they use.
That's exactly what happens, and that is exactly the vicious cycle that most players are going through. And the crazy thing is that the end result is it doesn't feel good, right?
Nope.
It doesn't feel good for the player that it's happening to because there's not a lot that they can do to interact with it. It's really not something you can interact with. It's almost like the touch of death all the time, right? And so,
Hmm.
because there aren't very many defensive options that feel good or skill based, you just have to take it. And then when you lose, you don't feel good about your loss. And when you win, you're really not really feeling great about your win either. You're just feeling good that you're not feeling bad that it happened to you. You're kind of happy it happened to them and not to you, which is horrible. It's like the game shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, it makes sense. I get where you're going with that because I mean it's not a good feeling, especially when you're always at the disadvantage. And it's like now it's almost like, especially when you're playing rank, you have to kind of low key force yourself to use the same kind of crap to give yourself a better chance, especially if you're not at a particular level to where you can easily, claw your way through it. Because let's take you and me for example. I have no shame in admitting this.
Yeah.
I am nowhere near the level that you and other people are, to the point where if someone used some crazy ass shit, that I'm confident enough to where I can use a weaker team and still be able to convincingly pull out the victory. There have been
I
many
hear
times
that.
where I could barely win, or I lose, but I barely lost,
Yeah. I
and
hear
it
you.
sucks. And I may have to sit there and think, well, I know people gonna use some really strong crap, so I kind of like have to just, even though I don't like using particular things, I kind of don't have a choice but to use it to give myself more of a chance.
That actually makes sense. I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So
And
at some point, you just feel like, well, I don't know all the techniques and I don't know all the kind of ins and outs and tricks. Like you have a very solid foundation, you're very good, but you don't know all the things. And just because, and I think we talked about that. Like once you get to a certain point, if you maybe don't know technique, number 3 or C, right? But you
right,
have A and B,
right,
and you have A, B, and D, but you don't have C, and this guy has A, B, C, D, you're just gonna
right.
lose because it's a knowledge
Yeah,
check, and nobody's really explaining how to do that so that everybody knows. The game doesn't teach you, right? Other games literally
no, it
have
doesn't.
tutorials that walk you through step by step and like visually show you when you've done it
Right.
perfectly or not. So it actually really teaches you. But in this, it doesn't really teach you
Yeah,
anything. Like it tries to.
yeah.
Like in Storm 4, there was a tutorial or whatever, but it's pretty much useless.